God, Bitcoin on a bounce back, big comeback, right? Straight from 56K to 64K now. Are you buying anything? Has the new bull market started, do you think? Okay, first, why is Bitcoin doing these massive roller coaster rides, right? Well, first, as my last video explained, right, that was because they were worried that the US would hike rates on them, right? The Federal Reserve is going to hike rates, and usually that's bad news for the financial markets. That's why gold was down, NASDAQ was down, stocks were down, Bitcoin was down. But if you watch my last video, I said they're not going to raise rates, where it's very unlikely. At least it would be quite suicidal because look at this. Right? If the Federal Reserve was to raise rates, as I explained in my last video, then basically even just the interest repayments on all that US national debt goes to 1.7 trillion, which is like 1/3 of their taxes. But that's not the only bad news. The other thing is that on Friday, right, US released a batch of all these economic data reports, and all of them was pro the market. They were kind of bad news, but it was good for the market. What do I mean by that, right? First of all, non-farm payrolls means the number of jobs added to the US economy came out at 175,000 jobs when 238,000 jobs were expected. So that means the economy is weaker than everyone was expecting, and it was a shock because usually the number comes out above expectations for the last 5-6 months in a row. And look at this. Unemployment now surging or rallying to nearly 4% now. Once it crosses 4%, then psychologically people think, the economy is really slowing down. We're headed probably for a recession. How can you hike rates more when there's a recession? Now, what about inflation? If we let interest rates down now, what's going to happen to inflation? Now, look at this. Average hourly earnings is lower than expected, right? Average hourly earnings year on year lower than expected. So what that means is workers are getting paid less. The wage increases are getting less. That means possibly core inflation is slowing down. So all these were enough to convince the market that the Fed probably won't tighten rates. It can try to hold rates this high at 5.5% for as long as they can, but sooner or later, they're going to have to cut rates. So that's why Bitcoin did a bounce from 56, 57K, but who could have predicted this? Well, this is my Twitter from about 3 weeks ago, and I kept on saying probably Bitcoin gets to high 50s and bounces from there. Dollar cost averaging down into this pullback move, right? And that's pretty much exactly what Bitcoin did. A quick pullback into this high 50s, or you can even call it 56, 57 area, and it's a quick wick up, looking pretty strong right now, right? I'm buying into this dip. Nothing's 100%, so not financial advice, and follow Pablo for more.